technology impacted, sorry, our culture? So our beatbox culture, our beatbox kind of world. How do you think technology has impacted that? And I suppose we've spoken about it in terms of how to get exposure on the internet, like using TikTok now and using other platforms. But what kind of other things would you say has really impacted the scene? For like, I think maybe I'd like to ask Faya Braz first, because you're similar beatbox age to me, where you've kind of grown up through not being able to share videos because it takes 7 years to download one on the terrible internet, to then suddenly you're doing more and then posting photos and then etc. And now we're where we are now with technology. Okay, Shezame, let me ask you that instead then.
I mean, I think the loop station changed a lot.
Yeah.
Because I see more and more people out there just performing with the loop station that are like not actually like super good beatboxers, but like using the loop station and like basic beatboxing to make music.
Yep.
And I mean, it's pretty new for me. Like, I still remember like Eclipse doing shows in like 2009 with the Jammin', the blue loop station, and that was like one track without effects, without anything.
Yeah.
And yeah, now a lot of people use it. I also think like the quality changed a lot through the technology.
Oh yeah.
Like all the audio stuff you can do now that like 15 years ago was basically only reserved for high-end studios.
Yep.
And now basically everyone with a laptop can like mix and master the sound to a certain degree, and it's getting better and better and cheaper.
Yeah. So I think especially on the especially on like the shout out video side of things. I remember like when shout out videos started to be a thing, it would just be someone with a camcorder or like maybe like a GoPro or something, and that was it. No audio recorder stuff. And then suddenly people started bringing like Zoom audio recorders. You're like, oh, what's that? And then suddenly it started growing, and now people are bringing like SM7Bs and full kits around, which fits in a backpack, and now you're getting like super high quality videos, you know, like Adam from Beatbox TV. He's just like I got a studio in my face all of a sudden.
I mean, yeah, huge shout out to Aaron Sindra from SBX.
Yeah,
I think he was like the first one who went up to Paponi and Bilo and was like, guys, I just studied audio engineering and I'm a beatboxer, can I master and mix your beatbox audio? And that was the first time Beatbox Battle TV and Swiss Beatbox started with mastering audio. And now, like, the crazy stuff that comes out with the albums and shit.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell from listening back to old videos, especially the World Champ stuff, like the first couple of years, everything's dry and not mixed. And then suddenly it's like, bang, you're like, oh, it's better. Yeah, really interesting. Gene, what about you? How do you think technology has impacted us?
It's interesting because at first people were imitating like genres and actual tracks and records and stuff like that, and then now with videos and YouTube tutorials, people are imitating other beatboxers now. And then now they're building upon each other's techniques and making them original and making it theirs. So I think the level of beatboxing grew exponentially, just blew up. There was a surge of just crazy beatboxers, and it's still happening now.
Yeah.
And then now with TikTok, like people are using beatboxing. Like they're all crazy beatboxers, but they're using it in a more entertaining way, I guess. Like, just the mass, like Collapse is doing this thing where he just calls up beatboxers, and then he would make a beat on Ableton and ask the professional beatboxers to imitate that beat, and whoever imitates it the best would win or whatever. You know. And DJ Hershey, she's also doing something similar where she would call up some beatboxers, and then she would give them 2 different genres. It would be like reggaeton and jazz or something. Like you have to make a beat that's like that, and then she would give them like a line of lyrics to incorporate, and she would give them just 1 hour to make a whole song.
Yeah.
And that's really creative as well. And these people are all just beatboxers. Yeah, I'm curious to see where this goes, you know.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's a really good point about about using technology to create up different concepts, like this whole YouTube series, which people are doing, like Claps are doing amazing with it, all these different challenges, and it's really like utilizing technology to the best ability of what we do and finding new concepts rather than it just being like, oh, another track that I'm releasing or another shout-out video, you know, some simple stuff like this. It's finding new ways of doing it. And I think it's great that everyone's trying these things. So yeah. D-Nice, what about you? How do you think it's affected the scene from your perspective?
So I joined the competitive beatbox scene only 2 years ago. So since I've been doing competitive beatboxing, I've had Instagram and YouTube and all of that. But because we've had all that, now I've been able to go back and watch, you know, like battle videos from like 2015, you know, watch tutorials from the past, and also, yeah, and current tutorials as well, like MB14's loop station tutorials on Swiss Beatbox now I've been watching, which are great. But I think for people like me who joined the scene recently and or beatboxers that are now joining the scene, we can use technology to learn about beatbox history and also watch tutorials and learn how to become better beatboxers.
Yeah, nice. I think, yeah, that's an interesting point about having the technology to be able to look back. Because, like, for example, when I started beatboxing, there were not beatbox tutorials anywhere. There were text tutorials on humanbeatbox.com. So you could kind of learn how to do sounds, but it would just like say it in text, and you didn't know if you were doing it correct or not. So maybe that was good because you came up with more original sound. But it's cool that now you can look back and there's like Tights tutorials, legendary human beatbox tutorials, and all these other people. If anyone remembers Fat Tony from the UK, but he had some wicked tutorials back in the day. And there's like, a bunch of these videos which maybe you get lost about, but when you're searching beatbox tutorials and learning about the scene, there's all these archives of amazing stuff. So yeah, really nice points. And Faya Braz, I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah,
we hear you.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you're a similar beatbox age to me, probably a bit longer than me, but you've lived through the year of no internet or really bad internet where we can't share audio or never share videos. That was a crazy idea. Kind of grown into the scene of sharing stuff online, and then in the loop station especially, like when we battled at GBB 2014, they were like not really allowed to use effects yet. It was still kind of like not allowed but was allowed, and then that whole thing. So have your thoughts on how you think the technology has really impacted the beatbox community in the scene?
Technology has been a tremendous change. Like it just gave so much more power. It's just more tools to express the beatbox. So like if we talk about the loop station, it's great. It's been years loop station haven't existed, but the thing is that beatboxers started to use it that way, and then it became a new tool, and then new loop station came out of this, and then I wonder what is the next loop station.
Yeah, I think everyone does.
And if we're talking about this, I talk also Ableton now, or several softwares you're able to beatbox, and then it can transform your audio signal into a MIDI signal, and then it recognize the high trebles and middles. So I had snares. Yeah. It's awesome. Things like that activity for an artist, for example.
Yeah.
So as a beatboxer and as a musician, as an artist, technology is everything.
Yeah, I'd like to just quickly actually, because you were nodding a lot when he mentioned Ableton, just because you're like very well airing music, and you write your own music, and there's a lot of, obviously not necessarily the whole thing, but feel like a lot of it's based on that. So from a technology point of view, for you, do you think that like having these software like Ableton Live or like Logic, etc., is useful for beatboxers and how they can use it to like further their beatboxing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Wicked.
Absolutely. Well, for me, I'm not too tech savvy, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not, I use Logic Pro. I don't really use Ableton, but I don't use too many effects, you know, because the effects come from the mouth, you know. So in that way, like I don't use the programs to its full potential, but if I did,
I'd take over the world. It's quite interesting you say that though, because I think it's quite easy to get that kind of software and then suddenly get stuck into using all the effects and really like completely manipulating your beatbox sound and suddenly becoming this like big effect vocal monster, which can sound amazing, but maybe then you're losing the raw element of beatbox. I think you hear that a lot in your music.
Exactly. I always wanted to just make beatboxing like the forefront of my music, you know, because that's my roots, you know. I don't want to like stray too far away from that.
Yeah.
And I want to raise, you know, the lift the, you know, standard of the community as well.
Yeah.
And have it be heard and seen from a wide audience, you know. So I want to have it balanced, you know. I don't want to make it too electronic driven.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Because if you go that far, like what's the point of you beatboxing?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I think Faya Braz, you can talk on this as well with the Under Control album that you guys recorded, and that was like one of the best beatbox albums in my. It's just so raw, so organic, and it's like you feel like you're part of the crew when you listen to that album. And how was the process for you recording that album? Because obviously,
it's crazy to hear this because it will totally fit to what Gene said just before. The only thing is that we use technology. When I use the word technology, I don't mean effects. I mean technology.
Yeah.
I mean the ability to do layers, the ability to do undo redo, the undo build your sequence on a computer, and the process with the Under Control for this album. We use a lot of technology, but basic ones. Like Gene says, not too much, you know, but what we used, our sound engineer, he had the idea of reamp each track. It means that we recorded each track direct, and then each track was reamped in a big venue with microphones, and each track has been layered to the raw one.
Sick.
With the reamp one for each track. It did this. So yeah, there is some mixing mistakes in the albums if you ask me, but an artist has always, you know, the mix is the worst part. You have to stop it. It can last, but basically the process was it, and the use of the technology was this. But it was basically a rock technique, you know.
Yeah.
We just reamped because as Gene said, our roots is the scene, especially from my generation, is the scene, the doing beatbox with the mouth, doing music with the mouth. So we wanted to try to give the energy you could have on stage when you go to see Under Control or beatboxing, but on a CD, on the album.
Yeah.
So that's what we tried. So it's relevant for some tracks and for some others is not. That's what that's why I feel my personal. That's my work. So okay.
Perfectionist. Wicked, man. That's super interesting from answers from each of you. Sorry, I completely forgot what I was saying then. So yeah, thanks for that. I think it could be super interesting for a lot of people in the chat as well, for understanding stuff from you, Faya Braz, especially with the history of knowing like how things evolved and how where we are now with technology and how people are putting stuff out everywhere. It's a really high point, and it's amazing. Yeah, we're at a really high point for sharing and creating and everything.